Welcome back, beer drinkers, to the Times Record News Brew Review. I'm your host, Chris Collins, with co-host and main host, Orlando Flores Jr.
Sure.
We are at Bricktown Brewery for this episode, but we're still drinking Ballast Point. Today with us, we have a special guest, Megan, from Ballast Point, and she's going to tell us about a seasonal beer that Ballast Point has made, a pumpkin variety beer. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
I most definitely can. So this beer is called Pumpkin Down. It actually originates from our Scottish ale, Piper Down, which is nice and malty, caramelly. You get a little bit of that nice chocolate notes to it, but not overly whelming chocolate notes. And with Pumpkin Down, we add fresh pumpkin in there, minimal spice, a little bit of cinnamon. So the pumpkin flavor is very subtle, because in general, squash is very subtle. So you're going to get a hint of that nice pumpkin profile with that nice malty caramel roundness from the Scottish ale. This comes in at 5.8% and 22 IBUs.
So really low bitterness, but decent ABV.
Definitely.
What do you think is going to set this apart? So everybody makes a pumpkin beer, right?
Especially during this time of the year.
Why should somebody get this Ballast Point variety when there's so many other options out there?
Well, personally, I think it's well balanced. We do use fresh pumpkin, and the pumpkin flavor is very subtle. It doesn't taste like you're biting into an overly spiced piece of pumpkin pie. It gets that nice malty roundness from the Scottish ale, and then that subtle pumpkin profile. This beer is actually quite interesting. I did not mention this before, and I apologize. We have a homework series bomber that we're actually on homework series number 9. This was homework series, I believe, number 3. That series we put out a couple a year, and we put the recipe on the collar. And it basically is an ode to our home brewers. And last year was the first year we 6-packed it. And this is the second year. But I think that we hold that dear to our heart, that we still reach out to those home brewers with that series, which is still continuing on. And that's how this beer started.
So some initial thoughts. So we've got kind of a, let's say, toffee or chocolate color to this. The aroma I'm getting, Orlando, I don't know about you, the aroma I'm getting is probably more, I would think, like nutmeg or something.
The thing I like about this is
like that.
I think of fall, and this is exactly what this smells like. It's like really spiced, kind of, the not so much wintry seasonal, but just that nice autumn colored orange, red, deep brown. If you could smell that, that's what I feel like this smells like. And the thing that I like most about it is it's not overly present in the flavor. It's, like you said, very subtle. Pumpkin is very subtle. I'm getting the pumpkin at the end of the drink, but it still has the malty flavorness of a beer to it.
Like, the sweetness from the malt.
Yes, but like a traditional Scottish ale. And the spice also very subtle, but there enough that you can't drink this and think, oh, well, they're saying this is in there. It's there. Like, you don't have to question it.
I agree. Yeah.
So I don't know how you feel about that. I think that's what you mentioned earlier how everybody's making their pumpkin beers around this time.
Everyone does.
Everybody's making their offerings to the fall gods, as we said earlier. And this is, a really nice offering to them, but it's also a very, delicious beer to drink. It's not gonna overpower you with that fallness.
And brew review rating time, Orlando's rating for this particular beverage.
Definitely a mugs up. Probably the only pumpkin beer that I've ever had that I would give a mugs up. I feel like it's a little too gimmicky with a lot of breweries that put this out. But I like what y'all did here with this. It's there, but it's not the stealer of the show. It's a part of it. It's a complimentary player.
We don't normally do variations on our 3-tiered mugs up, sip slowly, or mugs down, but I do want to do a slight variation. I want to give this a mugs up because I think it's a well-made beer, but with the caveat that I don't see a whole lot different. Honestly, I've had a lot of pumpkin beers, and I just don't see a ton that distinguishes this from those. You're right that the pumpkin is mellowed out, but some others are too. It's a very well-made beer. I think it's worth trying.
Oh, well, there you go.
And I still give it a mugs up, but I think I wanted a little bit more to maybe differentiate this. Well
Like I
made
said,
still. Well made.
I'm like I said, I'm not really that much of a fan of pumpkin beers, just because the ones that I've had have been so over the top that it's just, I feel like they're not worth drinking. This one, however, I think it's worth drinking. Sure, full-fledged mugs up for me. So,
thank you, pumpkin lovers, for watching this week's episode of the Times Record News Brew Review. This is Megan with Ballast Point laughing at both of us.
Cheers.
The joke's on her because we got free beer. Thank you. See us
it worked again.
next time.